Bauer opens his day with a strikeout.
95, you can almost see the spin rate as this ball just maintains its altitude. It doesn't rise, but to the hitter's eyes it does.
Well, we hear a lot about baseball analytics nowadays, and people get lost. They hear numbers and they just shut down. But spin rate's really not that complicated. A pitcher's spin rate represents how much the baseball spins after it's released, and it's measured in revolutions per minute. The amount of spin on a pitch changes its trajectory. The same pitch thrown at the same velocity will end up in different places depending upon how much it spins. A pitcher wants a lot of spin on fastballs and breaking balls because it gets hitters to swing and miss. They want less spin on off-speed stuff because it creates tumbling action down and out of the zone. Well, it's no secret that a majority of major league pitchers use some sort of sticky substance on their hands to maximize spin rate. Now, it's against the rules, but unless it's obvious, like Michael Pineda 7 years ago with the New York Yankees with pine tar in his neck, nobody wanted to make a big deal about it. Managers didn't want to call out pitchers on the other team for fear that their own pitchers would get called out. So nobody made a big deal about it until Trevor Bauer did in 2018. Bauer insinuated that the Houston Astros, yes, those Houston Astros, that they were using pine tar to increase spin rate. Then before last season, Bauer told HBO's Real Sports,
"It needs to be talked about more because it affects every single pitch, and it's a bigger advantage than steroids ever were. If you know how to manipulate it, you can make the ball do drastically different things from pitch to pitch at the same velocity."
Here's where it gets more interesting. Bauer, just months after making those comments, went out and had the best season of his career in 2020. And the spin rate on his fastball was all of a sudden hitting astronomical numbers, averaging close to 2,800 RPM. Compare this to his spin rate from the year before, and that's a jump of nearly 400 RPM. Did he figure out a way to improve his spin rate naturally? It's possible, but you can't help but look at his comments from 2018 and wonder. At the time, Bauer said he knew for a fact that he could add 400 RPM to his fastball by using pine tar. He even went as far as tweeting out how much worse opponents' batting averages would be if he added 400 RPM, saying, "Look how much better I would be if I didn't have morals." Fast forward 2 years later, in a contract year for Bauer, he goes out and adds close to 400 RPM, wins the Cy Young, and then signs a 3-year deal with the Dodgers worth over $100 million. Coincidence or not, Major League Baseball issued a statement in the offseason that they're going to focus and highlight on spin rates and on sticky substances on pitchers' hands. It's on their radar. And they've made it clear that they're going to go out and pull baseballs from games and check them for foreign substances. In fact, that has already started as some balls have been pulled out of the game. And that's where we find Trevor Bauer in the center of this. The Athletic published a story identifying Bauer as one of the pitchers whose baseballs have been pulled from the game and may have shown a foreign sticky substance on it. Trevor Bauer in the center of all of this. It's easy to see why his name's in the headlines. He put himself in the middle of the story.
Nothing was different between my game and the baseballs they took from me and the baseballs they took from every other pitcher that game and the baseballs they've taken from every other game during the season. That's such a joke of an article. And it's such a, like, from someone who calls himself a journalist, just a joke.